Morning team, happy Monday. Happy Monday. Welcome back everyone. Hope you had a good weekend. Hope you got off the charts. Maybe some of you traded a little bit of Globex to the upside for that relief off that big sell and gap down. And let's see what we get. All right, as always, we're going to start on the daily. And if you read my newsletter, you'll be aware of what we're looking at this week. You can see already from the last few minutes, the news headlines are starting to swell as we get closer and closer to the end of ceasefire. All right, and you're seeing, hey, ceasefire's holding up, and then you saw yesterday America torpedo one of the ships, blowing a hole on it, and then you've seen Iran come out today saying, yeah, we're getting closer to a peace deal, which was like, I don't know, 2 minutes ago. So you can see this back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. Right, so let's start off on the daily. Very, very extended here, okay, but healthy move between 5-day and top Bollinger Band. And we have room again, all right, from the open. We have room if they want to keep drifting up to that 27,000. We do have room. The most important thing is we're opening up inside previous day, and we're opening up, so inside previous day and inside previous week, all right? So we instantly expect rotation and chop. The moment we see that, that's our expectation, is a choppy market. Okay, and we do have gap fills to the downside if they do want to come down, back down here on a daily kind of move. All right, move this down. Here we go on a daily move. So hugging 5-day, and we'll see where we go from here. Important thing is going to be the hourly, and this is what is going to give us a bit more direction and understanding. All right, you can see overnight we gapped down and we came straight back into previous week value area high. All right, so this is previous week. It was a trend week. Okay, we've got all these nodes and we held previous week value area high so far on that gap down. We're drifting back up and we're testing previous day value area low and maybe previous day point of control, and maybe let's get rid of these all-time highs. We can just move that up a bit now. And previous day value area high. All right, so I would be cautious of a rotational day for failed follow through. What do I mean by that? Let's just pull these out a little bit. Right, the fact that we're holding previous week value is pretty strong, but we're not yet confirming a hold of previous day's value. Right, so this is previous day's value. This is the area that becomes important. It's very possible we rotate in there today. Very, very possible. If we lift and gap fill into last week close, or previous day point of control, and then we start losing previous day value area low, we can think about this move here taking place to retest and possibly this naked point of control down here. All right, so it's possible they come all the way down here today or tomorrow, might be tomorrow as well, if we start failing to make a new high. That would be the key for failures. Otherwise, all right, if we come back inside here and we just keep holding the bids, this would be the rotation that can build out liquidity for a new move up, right, once they're done with it. All right, it's very possible today builds this out. So we're going to have to play edges really today. We're watching up here, we're watching this node here, we can watch overnight down here, and if we get weak, we can watch these. All right, so I am expecting rotation. That is my expectation today. I'm interested in the sell side if we start losing this back down for covers, and then here, and then I'm interested in a bid back up from here this week. All right, and if we lose this, then we're technically backside of it. Until then, if you are sell side, you're scalping your way down. But this is the area where I'm interested how the market operates this week. Okay, we can look at GEX above, pull this down a little bit so you can see it. All right, we keep tapping into 795 and you can see it's a big GEX level. All right, and just above that is the high volume node, which will be the gap fill. All right, so anything in here that fails, there's maybe a rotation back down from that. Anything up there that finds a bid is showing mega strength in the market. If we start finding a bid here, then I'm going to sort of expect that drift back up again. So this area up here, all the time we're selling into it or in front of it, I'm sort of expecting this move. And then if we stay heavy, this move. All right. Okay. But again, watch out for those headlines. Some of you might have already been in something and got caught in this headline. This is no joke. This is a 1 minute candle, 7:39 up to 8:05 pre-market. All right, 70.1 minute candle. Not fun to be caught the wrong side of that if you are. So just be careful with that. All right, let's move down. We're going to go through all of these. Okay, ES is the same story. Coming up and back testing this area of where we got stuck in on Friday. So we've probably done a 61, right, to Globex low if we don't include this sort of print down here. And that print down there is the 61. So we're coming right back in to this golden zone. So I'd expect sellers to be hanging out here trying to get that rotation, right? And above that, obviously we've got high volume node, gap fill, and 24-hour view up, all right? Or sorry, New York view up. So we're watching these areas here to see if there is a morning shove up and resistance there or not this morning. Downside pressure, all right, plenty of room if they do start to break. If this is failed follow through, remember we've been up. If this is technical fail follow through and we get the sell, you're covering some then, and then you're waiting to see if there's a bleed out into this next pocket. Again, if they reclaim this, that's rotation for bullish moves later in the week or maybe even later today. Spiders, same story. All right, you're seeing this drive up, trying to fill some of this gap into these key levels. Same story, nothing's changed there. If there's failed follow through, you're looking for covers down into 705s. Yeah, 705s really. Any weakness under 705s, you can see there's support down here. 702, 701, 700, which is the structure from Thursday. All right, doesn't have to do it today. I'm just making you aware. Might not do it at all. But if that happens, that's what you're looking at. QQQ relative strength on that move up, but you can see getting a little bit stuck here. All right, we'll see if they hold this and base, then you get that inverted head and shoulders look. If they're able to create liquidity for that move up. If this is failed follow through, failure to make a new high, then we expect some downside pressure to start coming. Crude, gapping up off that news, all right, is basing out. The question is, does this need to gap fill and go, or do we just see this bleed all the way down off a piece deal being done? It's so headline driven at the moment. Dixie caught a little bit of a bid because of those headlines over the weekend. All right, so it looked like maybe the war's back on, catches a bid. All right, with crude, if war's back off, fails back down. We have just swept everyone there technically. VIX is the one you've got to watch. All right, 20s is the level. All right, this remains the level. You can see gap up, back through these into 20s, failing 20s, back down. This is some support structure here that we're coming into now. This can flip the other way. So I'll be watching. It's pretty simple on VIX. 20s, 19s, this level here, 1884, and then 18s. All right, but we're definitely breaking down now. You can see the trend going the other way. But if we start to find a bid here, but your first higher low on VIX and might increase pressure upside. Right, let's have a look at the mag. All right, Apple opening up, by the looks of it, pretty much flat. These are your levels from Friday. All right, you'd be watching basically 69.70s. All right, break of that, you probably get a deeper drive back to test 68s and 65s, somewhere in there. All right, if we hold liquidity here, build it out and go for the grind, then next break would be 72 break, and then you're looking at 75s on Apple. So holding up pretty well there on Apple. Microsoft. All right, gap down on Microsoft. It's got a gap fill above 250 psychological level. Gap fill's just above that. So I'd be very, very careful on that now. Any lift in, they might well sell that for backside. If they start to reclaim it though, then you've got that bullish drive to try and get back into the 53s. We're longing all these from a long way away. I'm not adding on any dips in these until they significantly dip down. I'm not going to be adding all the way up here. Same story on most of these. They look very similar to the Qs. That looks like news has just hit again. All right, coming back into these key levels, gap fill, gamma levels. Do they fail back down? Need to come into this liquidity, or is that morning dip enough? And we build out liquidity here for the drive up. We're just going to have to wait and see. Remember, there's no news today, no actual technical news forecasted. No Fed speak, no numbers. It would just be headlines from Iran and Trump that moved the market today. All right, Meta into 85s. All right, so probably a 50% move there. Does it gap fill or come into any of this before finding failed follow through? If it doesn't fail follow through, same story. It's the same story across the board. I'm not seeing much divergence here. That's weaker for sure on Microsoft, but it's the same story, exactly the same story. You'd be watching for a reaction into 22s probably on Microsoft. If they lift 22s, 25s, 26s, and if they base up there, then highs are coming, as in high of last week. Nvidia, this is the big one, right? So if we zoom out here, you can see it's still got a little bit further to go to take out some of these wicks at 203s. It might need a small cool off here. All right, it might need to pull back in, trap some shorts to then go again. We'll see, unless they've got an endless bid straight up in one go. But Semis might, I wouldn't be surprised if semis come in a little bit for a reload. Tesla doing a good job, but right at that 400, same level we've talked about. 400 and 420 has been the levels on Tesla for as long as I can remember. All right, so same story on here on Tesla. It's still bullish overall. You can see still bullish overall. The question is there failed follow through for a deeper pullback, or are they going to base there and go again? Mag as a whole, equally weighted, look pretty good. All right, if we zoom out, all right, strong move, Mag as a whole. This is the first time we've set this up, a bit like here, so it needs to make its decision. Are we doing this, or are we re-squeezing? Some of the software names pulling back in a little bit. See Oracle pretty weak off that high. 85s right down to 72s. Same story here on software. So is software sold into today, tomorrow, or not? Remember the newsletter we talked about maybe that early week dip, which can be bought up end of week. So kind of my expectation, but market doesn't really care about what I expect. So we'll just have to see how we shape up here. We can have a look at a couple of these other names. Netflix starting to come back in a bit off earnings. I'd like this to dip down further. I'd really want to see an undercut down here. Might be very greedy, but that's what I'd love to see. Still long in it, but I would like to get some more size at a discount if possible. Hood as well continues to lift. It had some news here this morning. Price targets being moved up. I can't remember who did it. Maybe it was saying here someone moved the price targets up. It doesn't show it in here. Maybe if we open this up. Hood shares price targets set to 115 from 105, so moved up to 115 is the targets for them right now. So I don't know, we're long in it anyway. We'll just see how it goes. And what about these gamma and high gamma names? IBIT, no, IREN, there we go. That doesn't look too good. To be a bit cautious on some of these. That looks a bit better. IONQ. What about Rigetti? Yeah, they're all doing pretty good. We'll see if those come back in early week for a reload for us on swings. No, that's not the right one. Can we have the right chart, please? There we go. All right, so just remind yourself, overall bullish. Possible lift up this morning. We'll see if we get failed follow through. If and when we lift. The cluster, make sure these are right. Previous day point of control, 823s. Yeah, this looks pretty good. All right, so I want to see if and how we react up here ideally. Remember, Friday's rotation is in here. All right, so if we stay in here, we expect chop and rotation. All right, if we stay in there. If we come up here and fail, we can maybe trade down to the other side. If we find a bid under here, we can trade up. If we lose the bid, we can try and stay short side for a retest some of these again. We're just going to have to see. And you're going to have to keep an eye out on the headlines today because they are moving around a lot. Why is my mic so soft? It's not soft. It's because it's 6:30 in the morning and I'm not going to be shouting at this time and being all animated. So you can turn it up your end, my friend. You can turn the gain right up your end. JD Vance and US delegation to land in Islamabad within hours. And as Trump tells the Post, nobody's playing games. Okay, so we're going to see a lot of headlines today coming out of that stuff. What website do I use? Financial Juice. Yeah, all of the market needs to do a gap fill. Well, is setting up for a possible gap fill. Do me a favor, smash that like button nice and early so I don't have to remind you during it. I would like to do some giveaways. We're going to pull the Lucid giveaway today, I believe. I think that was set on X to pull today. Let me go and check. Pretty sure it will be today. Where are you, Lucid? The 20th, yeah. So you've got until the end of today to enter the Lucid giveaway. I will pin it to the top of my page on Twitter so you can find it easily. And we'll do some Apex giveaways on stream as well. We'll see. ES coming up to that high volume node of 150. We've got a little bit further to go, 35s. So we'll watch up here. This is this is an area of interest for me. I'm not going to buy this too late. If you were bidding down here, looks good. I'll see if there is a sell opportunity here, or if we just go sideways there, we're just going to chop all day. Here we go. So here's the gap fill coming right up. There's a gap fill at the open. So they've just tagged the gap fill, yellow line, high volume node. We'll see if there's failed follow through up here. Put a little piece on there just in case versus PDC on that opening drive. Very messy on the bids, and I'll take this off instantly at break even if we come back up. So we're about to find out, folks. Mag mostly opening up down. And if they lift this, then they can go further. So I'll come right in here at the open just on that morning drive. There is a guy selling higher at 850 trying to advertise higher. So I will cut it if we're going to go through to him, which we look like we're about to do. I've just got a little piece on here just in case. Just in case. There we go. Can we fade a little bit here? Beautiful. We're going to let go of this. All right, covering a little piece here. And we'll just see if we're right about this. Here we go. Lovely. Ideally, I'd like to come down into previous day value area low here. And then if we get under that, it would be fantastic. All right, so this is a rotation we expected from here to here. So covering some into that there. And we'll see if we can stay weak under here. Just like we talked about pre-market. Can we stay heavy under previous day value area low is the question. And if so, we can target this grey box and down here. I've covered a chunk into this, short from this up here into the gap fill. I want to be careful. Lots of sellers coming in here at 68s and 70s. Nice, 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 nice. Just got a small piece left. I will add on if we start to stay heavy. Still early morning. Here we go into some of these imbalances. Beautiful. Okay, sellers getting stuck here. So I want to be careful of any lift above 66s and 70s. That's my out on the runners. There we go. So they're going to squeeze. I'm out now. If they squeeze up, I'll think about adding, but I'm out of that first position. Lots of sellers coming in heavy at that previous day value area low. So if we pop up and fail, I'll think about a new position, but otherwise done with it. Is that a little stop hunt and go? We're pretty thin up to 800 though. That's a problem. Did ES fill the gap? No, it didn't. Need to be aware of that. We only filled it on the Qs. They're absorbing previous day value area low at the moment. If we get a breakdown under that, I'll reconsider it, but you can see they're trying to absorb the tape down there into 750s. If we get under that, we can think about 720s and under, but at the moment, there's good absorption down there. Do we see failed follow through here? About to find out. If they keep holding this all day, it's going to be choppy all day. And the rotation is just like we put. It's between here. Oh, don't move that. It's between here, here, and here. That's your rotation. If they keep holding this, this is going to be a very messy day. So you'd want to trade edges only. Back to the New York Open. Remember, ES hasn't filled its gap yet, just to make it extra difficult for everyone. And you've got divergence there. We've got relative weakness in the Qs because it filled its gap and faded off. Failing New York Open so far. Let's get some volume on here for us. No, that's not what I want. Ninja Trader, please stop being annoying. There we go. Okay, right back to, up to the upside because ES still has got unfinished business above. It's going to make things a little bit harder today. So just the opening drive trade, and that's it. We'll come right back up to the top. If we squeeze through this, they're going to come for previous day value area high and maybe all the way up here again. If ES is adamant on doing that move, so the divergence between the two, present yet again, another day of that present yet again, and we're starting to base out here at 800. We've created a little shelf here, so we're thin under 800 back down to 70s. There is a little node at 90s, but this is starting to look very, very messy on the tape. So the longer we start doing this, the less I'm going to be interested today. This is a little shelf here at 800. You can see under this, there's room back down again, but you've got this New York Open, New York VWAP in between, and we can just chop between the two. We need to move out of all of this really for a really nice move today. We don't want to stay in this range. So failed follow through a little bit there, but still basing just under these 800s. Buyers are still absorbing this tape. They're not done with this market still. Are we really going to do a dip and rip on a Monday? Apparently so. That's the pre-market high on ES. We can mark this out. Sorry, I just happened to look across the board here. So ES starting to get stuck into a level. It just all depends whether it's going to gap fill or not on the ES. But it is into sort of some supply from Friday. When it's not under its New York Open and it's holding its high volume node. I will look at this again if we start to fade underneath previous day value area low, not before, because we're going, like we said, we're going to test this now. So we're losing 800s, we're testing into 70s. This is thin in here. They can like mess around in here for a bit. And we're now over both the VWAPs now. So a buyer's still coming in here, still in this chop. So no trades here now, just that opening trade, that first test. First test always the best test. Since then, not interested. Definitely seeing sellers getting stuck this morning, right? Trying to sell these lows. You can see down here, they are currently stuck. We need to get under 67.70s for me to like start thinking about further downside pressure. Then I'll consider it again. But you have to know that's the edge of the range from Friday. Or do we start losing that level? Maybe a better move lower today, but not if we don't. You can see, look how messy we are in this thin volume now while they just bugger around on a Monday morning. It's amazing the market's still looking for upside. I mean, I actually tend to agree with that. I think if anyone's like, oh, it's going to bid up on the ceasefire or it's going to bid up on a deal done, I'd say we've priced that in already. If you don't think we've priced that in last week, I don't know what to say. I don't think the market, it could easily be a sell the news event for the pullback. I think we've definitely spent 3 weeks pricing that in. All right, here we come. So I'm going to watch this value area low on the session in 70s and see if there's failed follow through underneath all of that. At the moment we are bidding on this node here. You can see they keep holding, but we start breaking down under that. There is a deeper move into this grey box, but for now they are holding this grey box. So I'm going to wait to see now if that's failed follow through. I'm going to wait to see if we want to do this move here now. That's what I'm going to be looking for. Here we come. Hopefully they don't do it in one go without giving me an entry. Looks good. All right, can we pop up and fail here is the question. Do we pop up and fail here? All right, piece on here. Here we go, beautiful. All right, covering some because the short seller just got caught there instantly at 50s. So I saw him getting absorbed at 50s instantly. So paying myself a little bit just in case this is nasty. Come on, let's see follow through under this. We've got to get under 50s. That's where a seller just got stuck. I want to see us move under 50s aggressively here. You can see they're still absorbing 50s. Go, go, break, 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 break. Come on, come on, come on, come on. Do it, do it, do it, do it, do it. Do it, do it, do it, do it, do it. Do it, do it, do it, do it, do it. Here we go. Go, 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 go. Let it go, let it go, let it go. Let's go, 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 go. Snap, 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 snap. Looking for 20s here. Come on, come, 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 come. Be aggressive, sellers. Get it through this range. Let's come and wash these guys out. Looking for grey box. Here we go. Bang, 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 bang. They're coming, they're coming, they're coming. All right, so I want to stay heavy at 50s. Possibly they'll lift to 67s above that. And we're looking for covers into 20s. And then we can see how we go below this. It's nice to be done early, man. It's nice to be done early. Let's see if we can get under here. Get the fuck out of here. Am I longing? Go away. Get out of it. Not once have I talked about longing today. Get out of it. Here we go. All right, so getting ready to take some more off here. Spiders coming into their VWAPs. ES coming into their 5-minute flow zones. We look heavy here on the Qs, which is good. I'd like this to stay heavy versus 50, really. If we reclaim 50, we're probably going to come up and test 67s to 70s where we left that imbalance that I talked about. So I've paid myself a bit on the way down. Trying to see if we can get a runner to go here this morning or not. If we start reclaiming previous day value area low and basing above it, remember it would be a look below and fail of previous day's value. So ideally we want to stay heavy. All right, ideally for the shorts we want to stay heavy versus this. All right, for this move. If we reprint up and then reclaim this, this would be a look below and fail, and we'd go back into range again. We just did that video at the weekend. Nice. Be careful down here, man. Starting to see some bids come in down here. They are trying to look for that look below and fail. Sellers want to continue to sell 68s and 70s. They won't really want it to print up through that. It's a big test down here. There's some imbalances starting to build down here buy side as well. So definitely some bids trying to hold this market up down here. It's starting to get tight. Just got a little piece left. I'm looking for this break. I really like this just to break down and make my life easier here. Otherwise, there are imbalances to fill above into 70s. Sell side being heavy here, getting soaked again. So my expectation is to probably print up to 67s and test 67, 70s here, maybe even 79s. And I'll probably cut above that on the runners. What's ES doing here? It's holding up pretty well. Not through its VWAP yet. Getting stuck at New York VWAP and New York Open at ES, but it has relative strength over there. It's a good fail, that last push. Maybe one more poke through would be good. So sellers are getting stuck at 50s and under. There's definitely a bunch stuck at 40s. So that's where bids are trying to hold up. And here's the 50s. Can we get under 40s for follow through? No. Under 40s, we start getting fun down to 25. So it's just, no, they just can't do it. ES making our life hard. How many times have we said that on the opening drive? Can we just move away, ES, from this New York Open, please? I'm trying desperately to hold on to a piece here, but losing faith here watching ES. At 150 is big on ES. We break through that, I'm cutting everything. Yeah, we're breaking through it. Tapping it now. Good. Move away from it, ES. Go down, piece of shit. Nice, ES. Get under the New York Open now. So close to breaking here. They just got to move out of the way. They've got to get the indexes aligned. VIX is rejecting 19s, which I don't like to see. It's not going to help us. Needs to find a bid here on ES. Remember, the big level's 40. Sellers are stuck under 40. We break 40s, we should start moving. You can see they're still protecting the 40s here. Every time we come in, they're soaking. Every single time. We break 40s here, we should get a run on the runners. building a bit of a Dorito triangle wedge, whatever you want to call it down here. It's not nice to sit in with a runner when it's doing this. I think we can really move lower if they start letting go of this. There's so much room to come back to this side of the range, at least to here for a runner, and then see if we get any acceptance lower. Come on, get under the 40s. Nope, sellers trying again, getting soaked. ES going. ES is going. It's trying to go upside over that 150. It's making me very uncomfortable on the runner here. Very close to just taking everything off here. I don't want to get squeezed out and give much back. How long we got? 15 minutes. Orb's now set. And if we get an orb break here, it would really help. It would be a new setup of sellers coming in at the lows, though. Come on. Come on. Let's get a runner to go for once in the last week. No, still absorbing 50s and 40s. ES still holding up. Right. ES is at the midpoint up here, by the way. It's at its high volume node. It's actually right here. That's the difference. Still absorbing. Come on, sellers. Get us under 40s. Someone is soaking everything down here into 40s right now. We got a break. We need to turn this huge buyer down here into a seller. And if we can't do that, we're in trouble on the runners. What's this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 minutes spent down here trying to get through him. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. Nope. Come on. You're so close to liquidating him, surely. Very tight on Bookmap here. 45, 45, 45, 45, 45. Just need that big flush. Here we go. Come on. Let's see follow through. Come on, please. Please, can I get a runner to go today? Please, can I get a runner to go today? No. I don't care if JP Morgan have got 500 calls on the books. What's the expiry on that? What difference does that make to what we're looking at right now? Makes no difference. All right, a bid starting to come in here at 45s again. All right, I've taken that off now. I waited long enough for it to go. Can always join back in, but I gave that enough time. But not bad. We locked in another, what, 1,400 bucks. Just trading this account, enjoying trading this account at the moment, just running this thing up at the moment. ES, like the divergence with ES is huge yet again. Look at that. Right, this is the problem I kept talking about. ES holding up well, just another day of massive divergence in the markets. I'm guessing because of earnings in banks. That pop just cleared out into 67s. That might be enough. That might be enough to have caught the buyers up there. If we start breaking down now, I'll rejoin. There's a bidder at 40. If he starts letting go, yeah, here we go. All right, you're giving me no choice. I have to join back in here. Find a way to get in here. Here comes the opening range break. Here we go. There we go. There we go. This is what we're looking for. All right, covering a piece here into Globex. This is what we wanted first time around. That was enough once they cleared out. Here we go. Here we go. All right, watching under Globex now. Watching this grey box. We're covering some into grey box and 24-hour VWAP. That was it. God, they had to faff there. We want sell pressure really to stay under 50. Right, any lift up towards 50, you'd want sellers to meet it. They are passively sat up there. There's lots of bids down at 700, so we've still got room to move lower at the moment. No, I'm not buying. Can you please fuck off? No, I'm not buying. No. No. What are you talking about? No. We're not into any level where I've been willing to be a bid at right now, all right? We're not down here and we've not reclaimed. We've not done a look below and fail. Please stop. Seriously, you lot are mental. Please can explain why we're looking for shorts today. You can go back to the very beginning of the video and have a look exactly why I was looking for shorts there today. You're welcome to go and do that. I'm not going to go over it because you've turned up late. Sorry. I'm obnoxious. Okay. Well, you don't need to be here. I keep going over the same things over and over and over again. Then you'll know at the beginning why we said we would be looking for failures. Where would we be looking for failures? I've already gone over it. Where's previous day's value area low? Where's the rotation? What are we now letting go of? What does that mean? Potentially in here, buyers remain stuck. So if sell side pressure has a pop and fail into clear supply from Friday after the gap fill, we expect sell side pressure. If we get stuck under previous day value area low here, which is where we're getting stuck at the moment, it means all buyers are trapped above. So yes, I've gone over it. We've gone over it. All right, it's a rotation from here to here. Inside of this, outside of this, it's sell side pressure. Inside of this, it's a look below and fail. Honestly, folks, come on, help me out here. I haven't timed anyone out. I literally haven't done anything. I haven't clicked on anything. I haven't tapped on anyone in chat. I haven't done anything. The only long, right, that I would be willing to take would be a trade back in here and a base back above here if this becomes a look below and fail for that move back up. I'm not going to bid against heavy action, and I'd be very, very careful today doing that. You know, my expectation, like we said, we're an inside bar. Apparently I'm going to have to go through it all again. We're an inside bar, which means we expect chop. We're stuck between the 5-day and top Bollinger Bands, which means we expect chop. We were inside previous day's value when we opened up. All right, so we were inside previous day's value. Previous week's value is down here. Right, so where was the buy opportunity? It was here overnight. Right, that was a cheap buy because we have to come right down here. This is previous week's value. Right, I'm happy to be a buyer on a naked point of control, or maybe on this edge. I didn't trade Globex last night, but that makes sense. That makes sense. I'm not going to be a buyer up here. Why would I want to be a buyer up here on a Monday morning? No, thank you. I'm okay, thank you. All right, so the only then other thing that we can then look at, and we've looked at previous week, would be previous day. Well, previous day was right here. There's value area high, there's value area low, there's point of control, and there's gap fill and a high volume node. What is at the top of previous day's value area high and previous day's point of control? Oh, look, that's where we had failed follow through. Who's stuck in there? Buyers, which means what? It's resistance, which means that opening drive this morning up into there, I'm looking to fade the edge back in, which is exactly what we did. If we now build structure out versus previous day's value area low, this can become possible. It's absolutely possible. If they reclaim previous day's value area low and base above, not just come into it, right? If they start to base above, which is what we're starting to see a little bit better of, right? Even though the structure is now bearish intraday, if they're base above, this can happen here, back to test previous day's point of control, previous day's value area high. So this would be the rotation, and from there we could see a sell back down. Very, very possible, but you'd have to watch this midpoint now because of how we've created structure. because buyers are now caught up here again. Right, try over and over again. That's literally a repeat of what we just said this morning before the opening bell. All right, there was a reason I was short up here. There was a reason I was looking for follow through down here. I'm not just going to bid on a wick down here. It's just not what I'm going to do. You mentally struggle to shorten uptrends. Yeah, I mean, you have to understand, if a downtrend is going to start, it's going to start somewhere like this, and then it's going to be confirmed somewhere like this or this. Yeah, I don't want to be a buyer in that. Okay, unless if we do this, sure. If we've swept, if we've built liquidity, sure. Okay, but remember, if you want to be a buyer up here, you're basically buying all-time highs at the market. Right, so there you go. There's the reclaim of value up to the midpoint. So if you took long on the reclaim of value of this base and hold, this little flag here, while I was explaining, right, the structure then has changed, doesn't it? Reclaim of value, lift, target is upside now. So I'd be selling some into these buyers and then selling up here into previous day value area high, and then, sorry, previous day point of control, and then previous day value area high. Now, unfortunately, while I'm teaching, it sets up. But there we go. This is why I need to be focused in the morning and not have to repeat myself over and over again. What's the blue line we just tagged? The one above VWAP. Up here, this is your New York Open. That was your opening price. That's what you mean. That's your opening price. Right, ES breaking out, so divergence. ES making out a new high. Oh, yes, I know I called it 100%. I would be in this long as well if I didn't have to explain myself 10 times over, but there we go. All right, but it's okay. I've made enough for the day. Added on a little bit more money on that last flush. There we go. So you can see I'm up another $2,000 today. Got caught teaching again. Yeah, well, if, you know, you guys could help me out. If you guys are willing to just, you know, take more notes in the mornings, it would really help me. Then I can trade. Don't. We're not talking about Arsenal today. Banned in chat. I had to drown my sorrows yesterday. Drown my sorrows. All right. ES is looking to try and fill its gap. Remember, it hadn't filled it this morning. 710 is the big level on the spiders. Remember, we've already filled the gap on the Qs. ES has not filled its gap, but it is breaking out. You can see the divergence continuing. ES breaking out a new high. Gap fill is up here through its high volume node. So this is positive gamma on the day, and it's trying to lift. I don't think we are yet on the Qs. I think we're still under the high volume node. I'm just going to check. Yes, we're under it. So divergence between the two. And like I said, with the VIX, didn't like what I started to see at 19s. We're starting to lose 19s. So VIX can come back down into 1822s and 18s even. And that would mean a drift higher on the ES if we do that. Do I think Arsenal get over bottling it with Arteta in charge? Well, I actually think the weekend's game was a bit different to the other games. Did we bottle it in the Caribou and the FA? 100%. Did we bottle it the weekend? I don't think so. I think we actually played some good football, but I think football at this level, you need ruthlessness. You have a 4-on-1 with a keeper, you better be putting that away, right? You better be putting up that way. $50 tip from Chris, super chat, up another 1,000 on TPT funded again today. Banger of a month. Thank you, Alex. Cheers. Nice work, Chris. Look at that. And you can pull that out. If you're on TPT, you can pull that out straight away. That's the nice thing about TPT. You can pay yourself 800 quid. $800 for, you know, however long we've traded this morning. 30 minutes works. Pretty good going, isn't it? Pretty good going. Yeah, what was I saying? Yeah, I think that, you know, that 4-on-1 chance, sloppy pass from Odegaard into Havertz, you know, if that's a good pass, or if Odegaard just finishes it himself, that's a different story. 2-1 up. If Eze's one that hits the post goes in, 3-1 up. If Havertz scores his header at the end, 2-2. You know, you can't miss those kind of chances if you want to win the Premier League. It's the hardest league in the world for a reason. There's too much class. So that's my feeling. I don't think we bottled that specific game. The big losses have come from earlier slip-ups, you know, for the run that we've had the last few months. I remind you of Zlatan. Yeah. Same attitude as Zlatan as well. Who do I think is going to win, Bayern Munich or PSG? Bayern have looked very, very strong. Depends which PSG sides show up, but Bayern have looked very, very strong this year. The last cross in extra time, yeah, the header for Havertz. That's what I'm saying. You got to finish that. You got to at least put it on target. You got a whole goal to aim at. You got. This is what I'm talking about. We've missed that ruthless striker. You buy Gyökeres and still not ruthless enough. So, you know, if we come away with nothing this year, does Arteta stay? I don't know. Probably stays because I'm not sure who you're going to replace him with. But I wouldn't be surprised if we really underperform next year. A bit like Liverpool this year. I think you'll see major burnout. I think you know, the psychology of coming so close, you're probably going to see major burnout next year if you don't win something. Right, still seeing a little bit of absorption here. ES is still trying to get up towards those highs. And you can see this rotation starting to fill now. So failed the New York Open. We didn't get up that high. ES is trying to get up that high. It depends if ES finds a bid on this structure here. Easy money is probably gone for the day. And like I said, probably build out a range here, which is the expectation unless we stay heavy. But the divergence between the two is likely to make this pretty hard work at the moment, I would say. So just sitting still now. Money's been made this morning, so the money was made. The shorts were made here. Oh, can't draw this now either. Here and here. All right, and then out of it. And if I wasn't teaching, a long would have been made here and selling into that. And we can see now, if we break down under this, we can consider this again, certainly under this, but I want to be very, very cautious as we chop in this range. Down to the underside. Remember, this is where buyers came in earlier. This is your point of control now for the day down here. Structure on ES is much more bullish than the Qs. I can give you a readout of the mag, by the way. Tesla, 1.16% down. Nvidia, 0.92% down. Microsoft, 0.26% down. Meta, 1.86% down. Google, 0.49% down. Amazon, 1.23% down. Apple, the strong one today, 1.32% up. That's hilarious. It's by itself doing its own thing. Swings still paying very, very nicely as well. So they're holding point of control. You can see down here the edge as we go into chop and slop. I think ES probably needs to close its gap before anything else. Have I been filled on any of these other swings we were looking at? Probably not. No, bull another 2% up going without me. I mean, that's frustrating. It's exactly what I wanted to be in. I think it's going to come up to 10s soon enough without me. All right, watching this. We can watch if they stay heavy under all of this, but otherwise it feels to me like ES is desperately trying to close its gap at the moment. But here we go, into value area low. Are they going to find acceptance under all of this at the moment? Let's just load my swing account up here. Give me a second. No, still I can't get filled on anything. No more extra additions into my swings at the moment. So ES is finding a bid at New York VWAP and at that 71.50s. It looks like it wants a gap fill above. Qs, we're just in this bottom of the range. You can see now this node here starting to become important. Failed follow through would be this. Range would be this. All right. You want to be careful now because we've already come into the grey box. This can be a first higher low if they really want it, but that would mean you have a lower high and a higher low, which would just be exactly what I talked about at the morning bell. Probably going to see a lot of chop develop today. If ES starts letting go of New York VWAP, 7150, New York Open, then maybe we see more downside in this market. Back to value area low again here on the Qs. So it's the same level as earlier, right? The 40s. 50s is where sellers started to sell very, very heavy, right? If they sustain an auction underneath this, we can see new lows. But if they keep absorbing under 50s, it's where sellers keep coming in and in and in and not getting the move down. We just see the same again here. We look at the delta right now. Everything under here, under 50s, you can see everything under here. It's all sell side, and there's no follow through. The absorption that happened here this morning, 950 into 955, was pretty big. All right, so until they get a break under all of this, these guys remain stuck at 50s and under. Do I use hotkeys? Yes, I do. And I also have ATMs set up on everything so I can drag them on the screen. Right? That's why I trade on Ninja. It's for that reason. It's so much quicker for execution. You're talking about a downside gap to ES. You're ignoring that upside gap. ES has an upside gap of 71.61, basically. That's where it's trying to get into at the moment. That is Friday's close. It's 4 o'clock close. All right, that's why. And I'd imagine it's because we've had earnings this morning on the bank names. So you've probably got some of those bidding up. Yeah, exactly. So banks strong this morning. It's exactly what we talked about. Banks and energy strong. So JP Morgan's like 1.26% up. WFC's up. C's up. BK, AXP, MA. Visa's down a little bit. Insurance names are up. Asset manager names are up. Insurance and property are up. These are all stuff that's in the ES that isn't in the Qs, right? Same with energy. Exxon's up. CVX, Chevron's up. Like all of these names are up right now. So you've seen relative strength in the ES holding up at the moment. And like we said, we're in earnings season and the banks always come first in earnings season. I don't care if you're the one that's upset about my volume. I'm not going to shout for you. So you can bitch and moan all you want, guys. I'm not changing myself for you. It's 7 a.m. My gain's up enough. It's your problem, not mine. Not going to keep changing everything for you guys in chat each day. There's 99% of you are fine with it. So you're going to have to turn it up your side. Maybe you can get speakers. Maybe you can turn your gain up because I'm not going to change here. It's 7 a.m. I'm not going to start screaming and shouting and pushing my gain into the red. As someone who's a sound engineer, I'm not pushing my gain into the red, I'm afraid. Yeah, exactly. All right, watching here, same level here. These sort of 50s, the sensitivity of it. Yes, still not breaking down under the 150, but if it does, then we might get the let go back into this kind of area here, which is the question at the moment. So tapping value area low, if we find acceptance under this and follow through them, and if ES starts to let go of the VWAP and of the 150, then maybe there's downside pressure. But this is the sensitive area now that we're coming into. They're going to need a break away from this area. And this is where the sellers got stuck this morning. So a little micro shelf start to develop at 42s, and 50s the big level. So if they start seeing failed follow through at 50s, we can maybe extend the bottom side of the range. But this is the big level up here, and then see if they flush underneath or not. But you're going to need ES to let go of VWAP and the 150s, which is not done yet. So how we act here at 50s will be key if there's going to be downside, and how ES acts into the New York VWAP. Here we go, the lift back to 50s. ES still finding a bid on that 150, and New York VWAPs are still nothing here. It's just an edge to edge as we trade out this high volume node. All right, so we expect chop in this. All right, this is where we rotate. This is where we rotate. This is where we can print higher. This is where we can print lower. All right, in high volume nodes, we get rotations. That's why they're high volume. Well, I'm sorry about that. Hello, but you, like I said, you can keep moaning, but I'm not going to change stuff because of what you want. All right, I'm going to show you very, very clearly. My mic is popping up perfectly into the orange level. All right, I'm not going to start bleeding into red for you. I have a limiter there into red for a reason. All right. So I'm not going to talk about it again. You want to keep going on about it? That's on you. You're just going to get parred. Monday morning and dealing with this is pretty boring, guys. All right, still rotating this high volume node up here. Still ES holding on. It's interesting here because we're building out quite a lot of liquidity now. If this is going to be failure under here, it can actually start to get nasty if ES lets go. It would be easier if ES came and filled its gap up above. So ES into 150s again, into New York Open again. This is the big level. If they let go of this, there's probably more flush potential. But so far for the last 15 to 20 minutes, this has become an RBS zone for ES, which they keep soaking off. But if they snap this, I will consider joining if there is follow through underneath, if I see a sustained auction underneath all of this. But ES is going to have to let go of this 150. They're trying to auction under it at the moment. Here we go. Again, you see follow through. ES into New York Open. If the next pop-up fails, I'll be interested. Here we go. Trying a little piece here at 150 versus 150. I've actually just got filled at 47s. I'm going to move my stop straight into break even because I don't really want to test 150 again. ES under New York Open. We need to see follow through now. I'm not going to give this room because it's a late entry. But I'm looking for this breakdown if ES wants to play ball. We just need to see a move under 35s, value area low, and then we should see potential print back down towards low of day. ES reabsorbing again already, so I'm about to stop out here. Out. Not going to give it room. Can always re-enter. That was the moment. That was the moment sellers had the chance to take over, and they didn't. I was trying to see if we could time that first move out here and look for that, and that's why I cut instantly once it reclaimed it. And again, I can show you on ES the importance of watching the other index. ES finally broke down underneath VWAP, underneath New York Open, had the chance to do this, didn't, comes to the upside. That's why we're out of it quickly. We understand if we're wrong side of that, it will squeeze aggressively, which is what you're seeing now. And I'm not going to try and fade it at top side right now. The top side fade needs to be up here for me. So I'm either playing follow through or top side fade. We're building out a lot of pressure here, both sides. It's like watching tennis. Yeah, it is. It's a lower time frame battle because they know the importance of this higher time frame right now. All right, so let me just build this out now so I can see you guys. All right, it's the importance of this. All right, this is a node from Friday. All right, or it's actually to here. If we look at this, it's to here. All right, that's a node from Friday. All right, failed follow through would be this. All right, that's why sellers are they're desperately trying to sell this because they know they can open up this rotation back down to here. All right, if too many sellers come in here, right, and we're able to reclaim this node here and base out here, we get an upside lift, right? But I would imagine most buyers with some common sense are hanging out down here. They don't really want to buy, right, outside of value from previous week. They probably want to buy fair value from previous week, right? So I'd imagine some people are sensible enough to try and let this come down and then rebid. If we lose fair value from previous week, that's when we can think about a confirmed backside of the move. For example, over the next few days, if we lose this, that's where we see a deeper move, not before. All right, I need to focus in here because it's starting to happen again. They're looking at the same move over and over again here. How many more attempts am I going to give it? ES still holding VWAP. Back bottom side of this range again. 50s again key. Are they going to extend value today? ES coming back under VWAP again. Sellers coming in at these lows again. They need to get a break here soon. Otherwise, these sellers are going to get caught because they keep selling these lows down here into sort of 38 to 35. It's the same thing. If a pop-up starts to fail and ES wants to come into Confluence, I'll think about that trade back down and not before. ES still absorbing that 150. Yeah, don't think. That was the pop-up. I'm just struggling to pull the trigger now with what ES is doing. It's absorbing VWAP, New York VWAP, and it's absorbing 150. It's very hard to warrant pulling a trigger when there's a low-hanging fruit above at 6150s on ES still. Q's looking much better for a breakdown. ES really is not looking very good for that breakdown. Value area low, tap here again. So that last move, we rejected 50s, came to value area low. ES still absorbing its 7150s. Here come the Qs. Are they going to break now? Here we go. All right, having another go, small size here. See if we can get back down into 20s and then let go of it. ES has got to get under that New York Open. Coming into New York Open now. And we have a little imbalance back up to 40 here. I'm not going to give it room over 40. Otherwise, it's 10 points straight back up. Where was that last seller? 43s. That's the move back to 40s. ES has got to get under the 150s. Otherwise, we're going to get caught. They might lift the 50s here. Sellers stacking 40s and 50s here. I want to see these sellers at 50s walk down and apply pressure. God, yes, you're going to make this really hard. Really hard. I don't care what you told me. I'm in already. I don't care. Someone can tell me what to do all they want. I'm going to trade what I see in front of me. I trust my eyes more than I trust someone in YouTube chat. I'm sorry. All right, ES still holding New York Open. So we're into these 20s now. This orange line, sorry, down here. Want to be careful here. ES still holding up. We need to just see all these fill down to 700s ideally. They can come back up to 1450 if they want. They're going to make it really hard with ES absorbing in front of the New York Open. So we're in the right asset to be sell side on. Can we see that opening range expansion? ES is still holding the 150s. I'm very uncomfortable all the time I'm seeing ES hold 150s. Can we just see a move away from this into 24-hour VWAP here? So you could pay yourself a piece here if you want. I'm trying to hold on for the bigger move because I've already paid myself today. Still it holds 150s on ES. They are not willing to let go of that high volume node on the options market. They're still holding it. Come on. New lower day would be nice if we can break lower. All these sellers are stacked up higher though. I've not seen them walk down aggressive enough yet. New lower day would be really nice. No, you're just not going to do it. So they're coming back for these sellers at 40s, 50s, and 65s. Retesting that opening range. Come on, ES, let go. This looks better. Come on, ES, let go. Into the New York Open. Come on, ES. Still absorbs that New York Open. Oh, there's too much volume down here on ES. What are you going to do? What is that? Fucking hell, mate. It's hilarious. It's hilarious. Come on, ES. Trump posting something about him in Israel. I've not got time to read that right now. Out of this now, just waiting if there's a re-entry, but I'm not going to force it at the lows. ES making our life very, very, very hard. $150 again on ES. Lower highs, but no lower lows on ES. It's still absorbing. It might want gap fill. That's the problem. It's got a low hanging fruit above. It might very, very well want gap fill on the ES, which is going to make it impossible to trade at the lower side of this range. So no acceptance back into this range. Can't be doing anything with it now. We can chop around in here again for a little bit. And while that chops around, I'm going to get a refill on my coffee. Gotta let the coffee boil. Oh, I didn't know I was out. All right, want to be careful. They might upside lift this all the way up for you guys now. So back into range rotation. If we go back inside previous day value area low, they can try and get all the way back up here again. ES is absolutely being a pain. It wants its gap fill, unfortunately. That's exactly what ES wants. So it's going to make it really hard to do anything today. I'm not going to be a buyer on value here for the lift back up. It can just do it. I'm just going to leave that alone, just as a choice. But you can see ES holding above this high volume node, the equivalent. All right, look at this. All right, it's struggling to get above here, but it's absorbing 150, absorbing its New York Open. This is where it wants to go. It's trying to be efficient and get up here. Downside pressure will come underneath all this. You will see a downside pressure move, but we're just not seeing it. And you can't trade what isn't there. You cannot trade what isn't there. All right, coffee now boiled. Coming right back. All right, there goes ES. So it's desperate. It is desperate to fill its gap. It's desperate to fill its gap. We're now back at point of control. Fair value for the day. We're doing the VWAP dance that we saw last week. So New York VWAP, 24-hour VWAP, pin between the two, pin between nodes, stuck in the market. Again, like we said, no news today other than headline stuff that you might see from Trump or others, but there's no actual other news right now. Let's see what these guys are saying. Obviously, Vance just landed there. US-Iran talks planned for Wednesday, so we have to wait for Wednesday. Israel never talked me into the war with Iran. The result of October 7th added to my lifelong opinion. Oh, we're doing stuff on opinions, are we? That Iran can never have a nuclear weapon. I watched and read the fake news pundits and the polls, and a lot of disbelief. 90% of what they say are lies and made up stories, and the polls are rigged. As much as the 2020 president election, he's just on one. It's too many drugs for him this morning. He needs to get off the drugs, man. He's awake. Honestly, I'm not even being an asshole. He's awake too many hours of the day. Exactly. Love it when a foreign policy is based on someone's opinion. Yeah, exactly. Exactly my thoughts, mate. Yes. We're seeing the whole of Europe and Asia not be able to get to work anymore because of someone's opinion. I'm sure that's going to go down really well in the cabinet in the EU. I do feel sorry. I saw the lines in like India and Malaysia for petrol, and read an article the weekend saying that people who are on diesel cars in the European Union having to get rid of them because there's literally no diesel now. No one can get to work. No one can do anything. You got to feel for them for something that they've got nothing to do with. They're so out of all of this. All right, so starting to see, we're going to churn all of this now. Again, ES is looking more and more like it wants that upside move. Desperate to fill its gap. The divergence is at play, which is hilarious because the VIX is trading upside. Found a bid under 19s, reclaimed 19s. Looks like it wants to move higher, but this market is looking more and more gross by the minute as we go into rotation again. And you can see it's, other than knowing it's an inside day and chopping on value, look at the flow zones. There's no momentum in this market at the moment, right? Everything's crowded in here. This is your crowded level. Deep pullback, momentum clouds, New York view up, point of control. Very, very crowded level now. You don't want to trade that level. You want to leave that levels like that alone. What books do you study for futures markets? I have no idea. I mean, all markets are the same. I don't know if there's specific books for futures. I've never read a specific book on futures. When's the Lucid giveaway? End of today. Like I said, it's pinned to my X. So you've got until the end of today to enter it. All right, ES coming back down into its view up again. Do we start absorbing here again for that inverted head and shoulders look, or are you going to suddenly see failed follow through? They've just run a lot of stops here. A lot of buyers being stopped out on this last move down into 55s. Remember, the sellers have piled in at 50s and under. So if buyers protect that, they can try and squeeze upside. ES coming back into its view up again. I don't think I can have another go at this right now. I'm going to have to set up something different for me to be interested. ES is going to have to join, like, play ball for me to really be interested, because it looks awful. It's just a series of higher lows and lower highs on ES on a 5-minute chart. That really does not look very good. Into value area low. Are we going to see it now? ES back to New York Open in the 150s. It's tempting to have one more attempt here because we haven't swept anything. It feels like it's about to come now. And we'll see. Don't want to get caught at the bottom side of this range, but maybe if we reject 40s, I'll consider it if buyers get caught up there. We're seeing a lot of strong selling coming in here at the moment, and would need to see a move up and how they act. ES still right into that key level. If it lets go here, it's going to get nasty on ES because it's been here for so long. New York Open ES. Trying to find a way of getting involved here because this is what I was looking for, what, 10 minutes ago, whatever it was. If we snap here, it can get really nasty. There's a lot of stops down here now because of how we built out for the day. But I really need a lift up to 140 to 150 to reject, to see buyers get caught. I don't really want to sell the bottom side of this range. We've had a go at that already. Initial balance now set as well. Initial balance is the 24-hour VWAP. All right, ES right at this 150. It's just under it. I need a lift here to sell into if I'm going to have one more go at this. I'm not going to sell the bottom end of this range. The only way I can sell the bottom end of this range is if we break out, pull back and hold. Otherwise, I'm going to have to watch a lift to 140, 150 and see if buyers get stuck. I'm not trading it otherwise. It's literally watching the tape. There's lots of bids at 715 down to 700. So going to need to see this lift up and be sold into if we're going to play it. Otherwise, there's no play on it. Oh, you're going to lift up for me. They are defending the bottom side here. There's lots of bids sat in here passively. If we can lift up, though, it would give us a better entry and something to maybe play with. ES still holding that New York Open, still at that 150. Still the same play. I still think there's a rotation here possible if we can let go. This low volume now node now starting to be protected. ES now under the New York Open. You're not going to get me in, are you? Lots of sellers where I want to sell at 40s to 50s. Oh, God. Here it goes. There's the clear out. So that's your low-hanging fruit of clearing out these stops. Question is, do we stay heavy under this grey box now? That's literally the only question. That was the low-hanging fruit clear out. So they could have stopped run that to run back up because we've swept both those internals now. There you go. So they might come back up and test 40s and 50s. They can go back inside the range now that they've done that job of running them all out. ES did the same, didn't take out lowest day, but it did a little internal sweep back over the New York Open, back testing New York view up on 150, back in no man's land. As the chop continues. All right, here's 40s. So I'm watching these sellers at 40s and 50s to see if they resell this. If ES resells 150s, we might have a go at this. All right, small piece on then because that reaction was pretty good. Can we get a little piece of follow through here? Please, market today would be nice. So positioned for it there. My entry on that was a little bit late, 32s, so that you know. My entry's at 32s. I'm not going to let it come back above 39s. Here's the initial balance. We need to trade under the initial balance and look for that IB expansion play today. This is also 24-hour VWAP here. And what will this look like if we get an expansion? Is it into a place of interest? Oh, yes, that would be good if we can get the 600s. Yes, still holding on. Of course it is. Towards my entry here. I'm not going to give it room over 39s that I talked about, because we've got lots of imbalances all the way back up to 63. If they trade through 39s, it would be a problem. All these guys very passive on the book up to 50. I would like them to walk down a little bit. It would make my life much easier than stopping out again. And I want to be careful. This is the low side of the range, so I need to be really tight with my stops, which I am being. Come on, please, break. Come on. It's making me iffy down here with these sellers being absorbed. Break. We need to break into 700s. Lots of liquidity down there. Here come the sellers at 25s. This is good. If these can apply pressure now, this is good. Really good. Here we go. Come on. Come on, sellers. You're there. Come and walk down now. You're there. You got him. You've got him trapped. Just walk down. Don't let it pop up. There we go. Well done, guys. Well done. Finally. All right, here we go. Into that little imbalance at 10s. Lots of sellers still on the tape here at 25, so they're going to lift up. I've taken a little piece up off there because I did lose that trade the one before, not this trade, the one before. So I'm back to my high of day, and we'll see now if we can get one to go. So into 25s, remember they're 25s, they lift 25s, they come and test 50s again. Does ES have relative strength? Yeah, ES is only down 0.20% today. NQ's down 0.36. So we're shorting the weaker asset. They're just making it hard. They're going to come back for these imbalances now. So all the way up to 50 is possible now. So you might want to stop out if you're not willing to hold on above 39s. So paid myself a little piece. If they can't break down here, then no dice, because this is like third attempt down here. Like 1, 2, 3. We need follow through at this point, otherwise no dice. So they're testing 35s. Come on, ES, you got to play ball. If ES breaks this IB low, then we've got room. We're into 24-hour VWAP here and IB. It's getting very sensitive around here. Be very careful. This is all sell side down here. We need a break away from all these guys pretty soon because they're getting pretty heavy down here, folks. So we need follow through underneath all of this soon. Otherwise, if they keep being absorbed on the tape, it's real bad look into IB with these imbalances. Last buy came in at 21s. He's now comfortable again. We need him to be in pain. Need these sellers at 50s to walk down like they did earlier. Can you walk down to get us that crack or not? Come on, one swipe will do it, and then we'll liquidate and we'll have a nice follow through. You're trying again and again and again. Yeah, they're getting stuck down here at the moment. We need a swipe. I'm still in this. Come on. Stop protecting the IB. Come on. Here come the sellers at 20s. Can we see some follow through? Come on. You got to fill these guys at 10s and 700s. It's not that hard. It's really not that hard. You're making it very hard. ES into IB as well. There's constant sell pressure. The problem is it will lift higher first. If they don't get the move, they're going to get all stuck. What does my risk look like? Like I told you, my stop was at 39s, which we might be about to take out on the runner. Because above that, we've got an imbalance to 44s, and then we've got another imbalance to 57s, and then we've got another imbalance to 64s. So my stop's at 39s on this high because I don't want to get squeezed above it and give too much back. About to stop me out here. And I can always get back in. Like I say, I can always get back in. That's where my head's always at. Already paid myself a little bit. Yes, I will contact you. Talking about the Lucid thing. Yeah, I'll contact them on Twitter. Like I did last time. The last person I contacted on Twitter never even messaged me. It's crazy. They enter and then don't reply. Good failure up there. But there's still liquidity higher, and we're now protecting value area low for the day. It's getting very tight down here, folks. And again, this is the third drive. I don't want to get caught down here on a lift. Yeah, I do have a Tradeify code. All the codes are underneath in description. We can see them on the scroller. FZT is your code for most prop firms. The only prop firm that won't work for is Take Profit Trader. You can use code FlowZone over there for 40% off. About to stop at any pop 39, I'm out. That's where my stop is. It's right here. I'm imagining I'm going to get stopped out here. There's a triple top up there. I imagine they're going to fill all these guys. Tapping me, tapping me, tapping me, tapping me out. All right, and I can always get back in if they want to fill these imbalances and move lower. Might be the Alex trade, which would be hilarious. Just be careful. I'm now out of this, but this is what I'm seeing down here. This cluster, all right, of sellers keeps getting absorbed on the tape. I was looking for a liquidation of all of them, trying to play continuation. Right, we're not seeing it. You can see Delta starting to flip from very, very heavy to positive. If they can't resell up here, I would probably be done with the trade because it'd be an IB rotation trade all the way back to New York VWAP becomes possible, which is up here. If you're playing the IB rotation, you're playing from here to here. And this is your downtrend. And I'd say if they find acceptance over this today, a squeeze is on. We're quite tight in range today. You're playing 770s to 720, 50 points. That's not a lot. Consider the last few days, we probably had 300 plus points. Man, it might be the Alex trade here. It'd be hilarious. Be patient, it would come to 26k in 3 days. Well, we're day trading here, so I can't position overnight, so that doesn't really help me for this stream. You're into Globex high here. This grey box, basically Globex high. It was your pivot from Friday morning. Sorry, my belly is rumbling. I haven't eaten yet. Oh, it's the Alex trade. You gotta love it. It's the Alex trade. They stopped me out. They're about to get a liquidation break on ES here. Oh, you've got to laugh. You have got to laugh. It had to do that in the low volume. I should have risked this. I knew I should have risked that. You're an idiot, Alex. You're an absolute clown, Alex. You're a clown for putting your stop there. All right, so there's your liquidation rate. You can pay yourself a little bit. The next levels you're looking for, if we start trading underneath 92s, you've got that move all the way down to 600s. Oh, it's coming. Oh, salty. Oh, God. Oh, it's my fault. I should have given more risk into this node, but I just didn't want to risk the squeeze out. Okay, so you're trading into 92s. It's a pretty good point to peel some off. Underneath 92s, we can look for the bottom side of this range if they really want to let go. But I'd say 92s and then 64s and then low 600s. All right, so I'll mark some of these out just so we have them on the screen for potential TPs. All right, these grey boxes and then the orange line. I'm obviously not in it. I've had a couple cracks for this. You stayed on and got it. Yeah, I'm happy for you guys. That's great. That's great. The Alex trade is undefeated, honestly. I mean, my stop was quite an obvious place. If anyone watched the video at the weekend, right, what did we just see on a lower time frame? What do we just see? Everyone puts their stops here, right? Because we have a double high. Everyone puts their stops there. Tickle to a point above, right? Look above and fail. All right. So Alex's stop got taken and fail. All right. I became the liquidity for them to get what they wanted. Yes, exactly that. Exactly that. Oh, well. I'll just sit and help you guys out now. So you're getting that bleed. ES starting to bleed underneath is IB. So I'll be watching ES as we start to come into 136s, maybe all the way down to 130s. But 136s as we come into there. Man, oh man, oh man. Even if I'd held my first short of the day, I could have held this whole thing, couldn't I, all day long. That was my first entry, was on this yellow line. That they've made it hard. They've chopped around, but at least our direction was right. We had the right calls all day long. Okay, to make it real simple now, you must see sellers protect value area low, initial balance, 24-hour VWAP. This needs to be protected, right? It can build out liquidity to it, but you need to see this move here if you're staying sell side. Any reclaim of this, be done with the shorts, okay? Any reclaim with that. Otherwise, stay sell side versus these levels, right? And see if you can get the continuation. Would I take a reshort on value area low? Yeah, I mean, it's a decent area. I've just lost prime position. But if we think about these stops here, all these buyers, if they get a chance to become sellers, this lift in, you'd need to see buyers get stuck on this lift in now and then try and sell that back down. But, you know, we're coming deeper and deeper into discount versus Friday. So we want to be sort of slightly careful, especially on the H1. The hard thing now is where we're positioned on the H1. Right, we're coming back into overnight cluster. Right, so if we think about all this price action from Sunday and overnight, we're coming into where we had support. Remember, this morning we're extended, we're trading that back down, and then we're trying to see if this wants to happen this week, early in the week. And then from here, we can probably bid back up. All right, so Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, something like that is possible this week, like we talked about in the newsletter. Well, we just have to see, folks, but like we're losing position. The best short position, right, was up here, wasn't it? Where I took that short this morning, where we talked about the range rotation. If we see follow through now, it would be underneath all of this. But you guys are positioned well for it. That last tap back in looks good. You can just hold on to it. Just don't let it reclaim sort of 20s. Let me just have a look. Where did that buyer come in? 21.50. All right, don't let it reclaim 21.50 and you're good. And you can watch ES into its 24-hour VWAP and a little bit of a pivot here as it comes into 36s. So if you've got, you know, enough size on, if you're trading micros and you've got enough size on, you can peel off as ES gets into 36 and as we get in towards this grey box. Remember, 90s is a level. Under 90s or under 88s, if they stay sell pressure under 88s, you get this move into 60s. Under that, we get the move into Globex low. There you go, it's coming. Oh, this is what I wanted. Oh, God. Trading, eh? Who would do this for a job? Who is mental enough to do this for a job? Apparently we are. Don't look, yeah. Oh, God. All right, that 90s, big level at 90s. There was absorption down there on the last 1 minute candle. So under 90s, it's all sell side starting to be absorbed. Like we talked about on the hourly, that's a big node. See the blue line on that's your current week developing value area low. All right, so you found a bid there for now. I am not going to have another go at shorting this, folks. I've had enough. I was not able to add much, if anything, because I took one loss and then got wicked out on the runner. So I can show you, I might have added like $50 or something, but this is where I'm at for the day. Unfortunately, all right, so another 2,300 for the day. But we were trying, we've been sell side all morning. You know, we were selling this move, and then we were trying to sell under value area low. You can see the importance of this. All right, we were trying to sell this breakdown. All right, and if we get under here, and if we get under there, then we can watch these and these. This is where we found a bid overnight. This is where I think the market will try and find a bid. If we leave this level, previous week point of control, then I'd say we're probably backside of the move. I don't think we do that today, but we can watch that Tuesday, Wednesday. $2,000 in a few hours is a great working day. Yeah, it is. It is. I'm not going to get annoyed with it. It is good. Would a retest of 710 be valid? Yeah, I mean, anywhere from... Right, anywhere up here, this is, sorry, you can hear my dog. Value area low, initial balance low. This is where the buyer got stuck, right, into this sort of 21. So closer to that, the better. But remember now, we've tagged some key levels, right? We started to tag key levels. So we've already lifted up here a couple times. I'd start to be a bit more careful here, unless you see buyers get caught. What you don't want to see is a reclaim now, because we've come into current week value area low down here. You're seeing sellers aggressively attack the tape under 700 and be absorbed. So that might build out a bit of liquidity here. You can see we've just flipped the 1 minute into bearish. We're neutral on the 5 and the 15, and the 30 and the 60 is still bullish. So we're a lower time frame. Well, we're a higher time frame pullback on a 30 and a 60 minute and a daily minute. All right, so we're not in a pro trend short. The pro trend short will come underneath all of this. Until then, we're in a sort of, we're in one of these. Let me just zoom out for a bit. All right, if we think about like a 5. All right, if we think about the main trend, all right, we failed this and we're down into here. We want to be careful being short here, don't we? All right, so the best positioning was here and here. You want to be careful being short down into this, because you can see the support here, because this set a higher low off previous week value area high. You can see that wicking, it's hard to see the wicking, happened here. They bid of previous week value area high on the gap down. All right, so we might come back for it, but you've got to be careful entering too late. So what was that last move? Did we just come up to the 21s? Yeah, look at that, 21. So that buyer remained stuck. That was the guy we just talked about. This guy here, all right, this guy here, we just came and tested him. He just became a seller. 21s. That's why I said 21s is key. You can see him on the book. So that's the type of move you'd want to see, and you'd want to see us stay heavy under 700 now, and then you can see expansion. There you go. Oh my God, I'm not salty at all. What are you talking about? Who's salty? All right, cover some into this grey box, and then your next levels are down here into oh God's sake, for God's sake. Beautiful. There's Globex. There's your Globex move. All right, so you're covering now, and then previous week value area high, and then down here for runners. It's everything I wanted to see. What do you mean I'm lying? What am I lying about? What am I lying about? Just told you what I'd be looking for. Like, I can't see any news. I think it's just a liquidation break, folks. Maybe there is. Trump says highly unlikely he extends ceasefire with Iran. So no ceasefire extension. There you go. What was that? Well, it was a rejection of 21s. All right, so the buyer that was in here sold. That was your breakdown into this area. And then you had news to come with it. And these were your cover points, right? Grey box and orange line. Low-hanging fruits are gone. These were the cover points, right? Grey box and orange line. You're done with it, all right? You're just runners now in case it keeps going down to previous week value area high and previous week point of control. But that was the low-hanging fruit. You've just hit the low-hanging fruit, all right? So anything beyond this today is a bonus, but these are your low-hanging fruits. You just hit them, right? So if you took these shorts or these shorts or these shorts, you should have been out 80-90% of your position. You can see the reaction of these lines. It matters, right? And we've just come straight back to the grey box. So I would not be entering any more shorts at this point. You'd just be holding what you have. And hopefully you learn from it. Stop responding to haters. It's not fair to us who are really following. How have I... Man, it's guys like you that I don't understand. How am I responding to a hater? You guys in chat are fucking on one today. Like, what are you talking about? All I said is, how am I lying? It was a question. How I was asking, how have I lied? What have I lied about? And how's it also not fair to you? I am here teaching. I haven't lost focus. Oh, earlier. Okay, yeah, well. My apologies for being human and having emotions. And feeling like I'm not given respect when I'm here for free trying to help. But hey. All right, grey box key. If they start bidding grey box, you want to be careful. Sellers came in very aggressively at 650. All right, so the seller at 650 is currently a little bit caught here. Right, this guy at 650, he's a little bit caught. Everything under that, that's really good excess into the lows. Really good excess. So if they keep bidding above 650, you'd want to be very, very, very careful because everything under that, that's really good excess with low-hanging fruit taken. Alex, you got it all the way down. Unfortunately, Raf, I had 2 or 3 attempts and I got stopped out here. And then I said, there's probably a reattempt here, but I've had enough attempts of it. And the move was to here and here. And it's happened, so. That's it, it's done. For me, it's done. For me, it's done. And like I said to you guys who were like, buying here, and I was like, no, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Alex, how do you know that a seller is not a buyer exiting his position? It's 2 different situations. A seller is not a buyer. What? What are you talking about? How do you know that a seller is not a buyer exiting his buyer? Oh, I see what you're saying. Like when they're a market order. I don't know what they are, but I mean, I don't think a seller would be exiting a buy on market side at 720s. That's more likely to be an aggressive buyer trying to absorb the tape, which is why I'm watching a big lot like that getting traded back into. You were long. I don't know why. So under 50s, you can see sell pressure remain. There is good excess down here, but like I said, for me, the low-hanging fruit's gone. The only thing next to attack for your runners, I would not be a reshort here with 2 extended, would be this. Previous week value area high, previous week point of control. If you get down here today, I would probably be done with absolutely all of it. If it comes down to here, be done with it. All right, this is a big level for buyers to try and bid off. So you don't want to be short as you get down into it. You want to be covering positions. But again, you've already tagged Globex low. ES has also tagged Globex low. We're in alignment. We're coming into, sorry, ES has tagged Globex high, not Globex low. My bad. My bad. So the only thing left is here, that extension wick. And it was actually down into 39s. Let me just mark that off. Right. Let me mark it right here. That's everyone stops is down here. Alex, if only you kept your first trade. I know, man. I know. It was a good trade, wasn't it? Gap, fill, and fail. There we go. All right, so we're gapping down. Retail keeps trying to buy, even though up here everyone's stuck. Gap, fill, and fail. Into this level. These are your runners. Alex is done with it. Alex is done with it. It hurts, doesn't it? This is what I mean. It hurts to miss a trade when you've had a couple attempts at it. Again, I probably need to review my stops. They're probably a little bit tight for a market like this at the moment. Iran will not end war 25,600 DP. I mean, yeah, for a swing account. We'll see that. Look, I'm gonna tell you now, you're gonna see flip-flops, all right? I would say Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday last week, we were full alignment, all right? This was the sentiment. Peace deal's going to be done, ceasefire's holding place, positive talks are happening, you know, oil's coming through, the price of oil is going to come down, inflation's going to come down, risk on, risk on, risk on, risk on, risk on. Friday, you saw them not agreeing. That was the start on Friday of like Trump saying one thing, Iran saying the other. Trump changing his mind, Iran changing their mind. Over the weekend, you saw that happen a lot. All right, you would have seen one of the U.S. Navy ships, to quote them, blew a hole. We blew a hole in the ship. All right, so ceasefire over at that point. All right, regardless of what happened, that's clearly ceasefire over, and then you saw Iran saying, hey, we've not had, you know, as positive talks as they're saying, and then you saw Donald come out and say, hey, if Iran doesn't do what we say, then, you know, all hell's going to break loose. And so we got into this different rhetoric from last week. Last week was clearly risk on. I'd say coming into today, it felt more risk off, more like unsure about what's happening. And we just have to see what happens, you know, because this is a fast moving market with a big narrative. You know, if JD comes out tomorrow and says, yeah, we can't do a deal, they're not going to give up their uranium, for example, which Iran have already said they're not willing to give up, maybe war's back on. And then what you have to think about is, if this was us pricing in no extra war, what's likely to happen? Well, probably a reprice down to here, right? Somewhere down to here. And then maybe down here we find a settlement and they do a deal and we go back up again. Or maybe we build out a range for a while because, you know, that's what we tend to like to do in this area, which we haven't done. We just have to wait and see. It's a very fast moving market. I can't predict what's going to be said from a fundamental point of view, but what we can do is trade the technicals in front of us and try and react. Right? We don't want to predict. We want to react to what is done. All right, some aggressive buyers stepping in here at 30. I don't think, originally I thought the auction was done, but what I'm seeing here does not contribute to a good auction. So we'll see if they hold 30s or not. 30s to 50s is the rotation, and I think they might be about to get liquidated. Some aggressive buyers here. If we trade under that, you probably see a new low. Originally, I thought there was enough excess on that. It was looking pretty good, but that is not a good look. And we trade under that, then you're probably going to see follow through. It's unlikely that you see aggressive buyers step in like this, but we'll see. We will see. Like I said, it's a fast moving market. Alex, me as a new trader, was that a sweep or some news? Which one? This, it was both actually. It was news. This was news. And it was also a sweep of this level, but it was news. But look, we're in a sell, okay? We're in a sell. Look, lower highs, lower lows, lower highs, lower lows, lower highs, lower lows. We're still in a sell. We're rejecting grey box. Maybe we come down into these, right? If you're staying short, if you're still short from here and holding, right, your cover points are 63s to 37s, and then you can look for down here into 450s. All right, so the only thing left to aim for, right, you've hit most low hanging fruits, so you can look for extensions into 563, 535, 455, 442. Do not be looking for shorts into here. All right, like you must be runners only into here. This is a big weekly level. What do I think about ES? Well, it's still holding up pretty well. We're nowhere near, I mean, it's still sort of basing out into the Globex range, so it would have to let go. Let me just put some profile on here and have a look for you. If you stay heavy at sort of 29 to 33 on ES, then yes, you can go and like take out all the stops from Globex. I would say if they start basing out here and start recovering 33s, then ES probably lifts back to 40. So that's your kind of positioning here based on volume. What the grey boxes? They are high volume. Sorry, I'm laughing because it's in chat above you. They are high volume nodes. All right, they're high volume nodes on higher time frames. All right, a little stop run here. Like I said, those bulls who came in here likely to get washed out. You don't like. If you were bullish down here, you wouldn't want to see aggressive bulls. Like I said, you'd want to see passive, and that's not what you're seeing. So new lows coming. This is it. You're using those bulls now to move lower. Why no shorts? For me, because we've hit the low-hanging fruits, right? I wanted to be short where I tried today, all right? So I'm a very, very fussy trader. So I was short here, and I was short here and here. Right? I don't want to be short down here at this point. All right, because we're in an expansion moving lower, but this is where we built out liquidity today. We're now in sell the pop kind of phase, but That was not my plan today. My plan was to be short in this range for this move, not to be short in this move for this move. That's just my plan. It doesn't mean you have to do the same as me, but for me, I'd be very, very careful. Mr. Player, up 10k today thanks to my advice. Nice work. Right, new lows look like they're coming on ES. So previous week value area low, value area high, sorry, and this white line. I'll make sure that's accurate. Let me just do a horizontal one there because I really want to make sure that's accurate for you guys. This is where the stops will be. This is a big level. All right, that's your H1 bar to bar where we found a bid. If we just think about SNR, all right, resistance becomes support, all right, and its previous week value area high. So this is where we found a bid overnight. If we start losing that, that's your last cover down here. I don't think we're going to go beyond that unless we have a full-on meltdown in the market, which I don't think we're going to get today. I think this is the pullback we were expecting. But what do I know? Just some loser on YouTube wearing glasses supports a team that can't get the job done in football. Any tips for trading the London session? Not really, if I'm honest. Like I don't trade it, so you know, just the same as everything else. Just respect value from the day before. Respect the value that you've built in Globex. You mentioned playing a short in the area, then exiting kind of where we are now. So scalp versus hold strategy. Are you more in favor of reducing size for fewer trades with hold strategy? It's more about understanding where we're likely to come to, right? So like, think about this. If my idea today was that we would trade into here, here, and maybe here, and I was surprised if we'd make it here today, but it looks like we're going to make it here, then my best RR is to trade here or here, right? I'm looking for that move from these places, all right? That's what I wanted to do, but they made it hard for me again with ES, so I've stopped out here this time, right? And we're now coming into it. If I'm shorting here to get into that, I haven't got good RR, have I? I've got great RR up here. I haven't got a good RR here, which is why for me, I'm leaving it alone now. Doesn't mean you can't trade it. Like we're in trend down. You can see the aggressive sell, people getting very, very washy. You're coming into these levels. So I'd watch this now. Don't be a dick for a tick. Start covering some 563 down to 536s, okay? And then hopefully it goes beyond that for you. Can I get the chat working here, please? When you said the buyers came in there where there were no passive buyers, so they're being used for new lows, how big were the buyers? Well, your delta there at 30. I can only tell you the delta. Let me just scroll up. You had a 77 lot at 31 and an 84 lot at 29. So about 150 lot overall. $612 shot for a scalp. Is it a logical area to trade? If you were going to look for more downside, I don't really like that personally. I'd really be looking for sort of 630, 629, 630. But you got to be careful of the reaction. Look, this is previous week value area high. This is where we sort of bid off overnight. All right, I'll be watching this node here. If you're adamant, I'm not going to trade this, so you know. If you're adamant on trading short, I'd be watching how we act into this node, really. where those buyers came in. A bit like we saw here, right? So like if we know buyers came in here, we've got an imbalance. I'd want us to sort of come up here and see if these buyers resell it. Be like, okay, yeah, we're turning sellers. If we reclaim it, you know, then you could argue excess is looking pretty good down here. Strong selling down here. And if they start to reclaim it, you might get to some divergence at the lows. Yeah, so spiders, I'll be watching 706, 705, 80, 705. You probably do a lift up here, guys. It's been pretty aggressive sell side. Did we just get the IB expansion? We probably did, didn't we? This is what we did. I measured that out, didn't I, when I was looking for the short? We probably just got it. There you go. You got 100% expansion. You got 50 and then 100%. And look, remember, this is previous week value area high. All right, so this is where we bid pre-market on the gap down. All right, we bid this back up. We've come back and tested it. We haven't broken down through it yet. So we're still above previous week's value currently. Alex, I'm new here because of how you conduct yourself on the live. You're teaching. It's just fun being on with you. Thank you. You're welcome. You're welcome. I try and just teach while I'm trading. It's not always that easy. Like you saw this morning, I missed one because of it. All right, VIX, where are we going? 20s, maybe, back to the 20s. So VIX probably needs to pull back into 1950s and hold a bid. And that might give us some relief up further. ES might very well come back for VWAP here. See how far they can lift this up and what they do with it. We're seeing France, President Macron coming out criticizing both the US and Iran for the blockades. Like I said, it's having a. I mean, some of you might not be aware because you don't really see it in the US news here. But it's having like a really, really tough effect on people in the EU. There you go. So that was a retest of 30s. They're still holding Globex here. It's good rejection on ES. Didn't quite get to VWAP. You want to be careful they set high, low, and go high. Really, the easiest trade, if you're going to look for any more downside, would be a two-leg pullback, which gets overextended and sold into. You don't want to be selling the lows, though. Wish I did a monthly price for the course and indicators. There's just too much. There's too much delta there and too much edge there to do it for a monthly price. It just, I think it's very, very cheap, if I'm honest. $6.99 for lifetime Discord and teachings and an indicator, or $9.99 if you want the volume in order flow. For life, I mean, for life, you know, $1,000 for life. It's under $100 a month, isn't it? And you never pay again. Can you use a firm on it? I think you can now. I was trying to like sort them all out at the weekend with my developer. How would I enter longs? Well, you'd need a shift. You're not seeing a shift yet. You'd need to see some sort of shift. Down here would be interesting. Like if we, let's say we overextend down here and we see a failure and like this, then we can think about a long from here. But at the moment, you know, look at the structure. There's nothing to get long against. Like if they reclaim this, you could argue it, but again, you're under IB, you're under both VWAPs, you're under this. It's sell side right now. Order flow, do I use footprint? Yes. All right, that pullback on VIX Didn't even get back into that pivot. A 5-minute pullback held the 63s. I was looking to see if it come down to 50s. I'd like to see it build out on the 5-minute for like 5 to 15 minutes and then see if it can hold in front of sort of 55s to 50s. And if it does, then I think VIX is going to want that 20 retest. And that's when we'll see more build out. So ideally, I think ideally here you get a 2-leg. You'd want to be careful. You get some form of 2-leg with an overextension and these drift down into this node or this low volume node. And then you see that resell. Something like that, ideally, for those of you who want more. But you should have made good money with me this morning as long as you didn't stop out where I stopped out to the fucking tick. I mean, seriously. Did I say 39s? I think I gave it 39.50s as well. So it did me my 3 ticks. You gotta laugh. You gotta laugh. You got the short from value area low? Nice. Nice, nice, nice. How are we doing on the likes? Have you guys been smashing the likes yet today? Can we do some giveaways or not? You gotta laugh, otherwise you'll cry. Yeah, I mean it's a funny old game. You're up over $2,000 and you still feel like it's not enough. 1,700 of you, which means like at least 700 of you left because you made your money already. But at least 1,000 of you have not smashed that like button. Let's get it up to 1,000 likes here, folks, for me. And then we can do a giveaway of the Apex account. And if we get 1,200 likes, we'll give away something else. I do tell you stop, James. I tell you it. You should probably just enter where I say my stop is. That's exactly what you should do. If you rewind it, I did actually tell you exactly where it was. ES looks like it wants more here. I really hope you get a 2-leg. Thanks for the stream. I learned a lot from you. Keep up the good work. Nice. Bro, it's going to dump. I mean, it already has dumped. What are you talking about? It's already dumped. I think it needs to build out liquidity before it does any more. You don't want to keep shorting lows, right? We've broken down under everything. This is an area where they can bid off here and here. I think you need a 2-leg, build out some structure before you think about anything else. Bro. 739 was my stop. Yeah, it was right here, 739, and it stopped me out. If you look at that high, it hit 740.50. So, stopped me out by 6 ticks. Why don't I use deep charts? Because I don't. Why don't you drive a BMW and you drive a Mercedes? I mean, what answer do you want me to give to that? Because I don't. Because I use Ninja. Why do you drink Pepsi and not Coke? Bruh. Yeah, bruh. Bruh. Why don't I use Top Step? Talked about that enough. All right, here it goes. Is the second leg like we talked about. Bruh. That's why you don't short the lows, bruh. And you expect at least a 2-leg up, bruh, after an overextension. And you can see now how we act into some of these nodes. Like this low volume node, you'd want to see them protect this. They can backtest further if they really, really want. But you'd want to see that be protected for those of you who are still in short. Remember, you're starting to reprice where these buyers came in earlier. All right. If you start getting above this, these guys start to become comfortable for a lift. There's lots of imbalances above. Remember, value's right the way up here right now at 73s. Why don't I like West Ham? I'm not from West Ham, man. It's not my team. I hope they stay up though. I would love them to stay up and Tottenham go down. Bruh. Oh my god, bruh. We just tested 50. Bruh. If they get through 50, bruh, they can come up to 80. Bruh. This is the second leg, right? So how they act here starts to become important. This is definitely important, this kind of level. These 50s, if they reclaim 50s, that's where the sellers came in for the breakdown. If they reclaim 50s, they're going to come and test 75s. It's the Brut indicator. And I'd watch ES back into VWAP, really. But this is the second leg. It all depends how far this extends. If they start to fail, I would expect some sellers to protect this low volume node. Right, I'd expect this to be protected. So it all depends if they can overextend this, trap some buyers, and then a resell back down. And then you need to be covering into structure and then runners into here. All right, and while you let that set up, I'm going to use the bathroom quickly and I'll be right back. All right, here's the second leg. So this is the area that you'd want to see protected. That's why I say to you guys, don't short the lows. The people calling for like these huge breakdowns. And this is, you're starting to see buyers get caught up here into this low volume node. And how we act here now becomes important for you guys who are looking for a reshort. All right, this is the first time you've seen some aggressive buying take place over 64s all the way up to 75s and 78s. All right, and you'd need to see them start to get stuck somewhere in this area. If they don't, they're going to keep trying to lift up to this node here into 700s where the VWAPs are. Like I said, ES probably wants a VWAP retest. You hear Luna? Yeah, she's loud. She's loud. She's got her personality back after, you know, recovering from injury for a long time. So this was where we drew out, right? This low volume node, look at this. It's starting to be protected. They can afford to lift higher if they really want. The buyers are being very aggressive here. Have I ever traded options? I have. I'm not like 0DTEs or anything like that. And I'm not an options trader. I'm not even going to pretend I'm an options trader. There's better options traders out there if you want to learn. Just close this door and you hear my wife. I'd go and look at guys like Sanlucci. You know, I would actually quite like to start trading options, especially given the volatility of this market. Yeah, Sanlucci. I'd go and look at someone like him. It's a proper options trader. Alex, thank you for the consistent levels here. Level analysis here. Hearing these called out every day, I'm able to join is really helpful. Developing a degree of tape reading would be huge. Nice, man. Good work. So you can see this is the area. Look, this low volume node. They're trying to protect it. There's VWAP. ES just came up to VWAP and rejected. This might be the end of the pullback, and you might see continuation downside. If they can't break back under here, though, it's going to be problems for the bears trying to sell back down, because you can get that sort of V-shaped recovery, which is what we've seen the last few weeks. And they have protected value area high, right? They didn't take Globex, so they protected Globex low, as in this white line here. This is the big wick for the open. This was Globex, but this was the open. And this area here becomes important. So I'd say this area here now is important for sentiment for the day. Hopefully that makes sense to you lot. But there's definitely buyers caught over 74s at the moment. Doesn't mean they can't move higher. All the sellers are up at 95 and 700, and there's buyers on the tape here trying to get up to that 700. It's what they are attempting to do. They're trying to get up towards the 700s up here for that view up. And then what happens up there will become very, very, very important, because if this H1 pullback is finished, we can go wick to wick on the H1 into 715s, and then that's going to be a very, very interesting point at that point. US to host talks between Israel and Lebanon, April 23rd. How many days? 3 days away. India, 10 of our ships have successfully crossed Hormuz. See a single sorts coming out here at once. Here we go, in towards these VWAPs. ES about to hit its VWAP and its initial balance as well. It's IB low, so this is key. As we come into these areas, remember we did extend 100%. The main trade had happened. Like we talked about, you're starting to see bullish order flow come back in on the lower time frame now. This is a key level. What happens here becomes very, very, very key. Here's VWAP on ES as well, and the spiders. Big levels here. And if they start going through all of these, there can be a really big squeeze. But I would expect to see sellers start to come in and try and defend some of these levels here as we start to approach these sort of 700s, which is what you're starting to see happen. Not ready to get a short yet. I'm going to have to wait to see like poke ups and breakdowns before I think about anything else. Man, I'm going to have to go and buy a new iPad today. Something's up on my iPad. I try and watch the chat on an iPad on a side monitor. So I've run out of real estate at the moment on my screens. We'll try and grab the course tonight. I think I need a total reset from ground zero. Maybe you pick. I might have missed some things that you've said, mate. But you know, it's not unusual to have picked up some bad habits along the way trading, and the course will definitely help iron out some of those for you. But again, like I always say, if this is your first time here, there's lots of stuff on my YouTube for free. Make sure you go and do as much for free first. Don't commit to doing a course and spending money unless you like how I teach. Some of you probably hate how I teach, and that's absolutely fine. Then you should look for a different mentor or find other stuff. Oh, you've been here for months. Okay, well, that's cool, Dean. Just checking. I'm just trying to save you some money before you commit. Can we lift that tiny bit high? ES rejected IB high there and VWAP. A little bit higher would be great. We're protecting value area low here for now. If we start to break down, I'll think about the join, but I would like to see a little poke higher and then lots of buyers get stuck and then a breakdown start to come. I don't think we've poked up quite high enough yet. And any reclaim of anything up here, I'm just going to leave it alone, because then we're going to go back into what I don't want us to do is come back into this. This is the choppy action. Sellers need to defend this to offer this move here. It might be here to here, and that might be it, and then they keep going up. But we will see. I'm going to look for one more Basically a short attempt if I can see what I want on the tape. At the moment, can't see it. ES looks better. Funny that. ES actually looks better in terms of what it's done, but it's trading between its two VWAPs now. Can we see a little bit more of a poke up to be sold into? Don't want to get caught in a V shape either. They start printing positive news. Remember, 715s, we could go up to there and rebalance the H1. Iran heading to Pakistan on Tuesday now. So tomorrow, that would be for the talks with JD. So do we start pricing in peace now? The complete opposite to what we've had this morning. Do we start pricing that in? Looks like it. Here goes the lift up. All right, I'm starting to perk my interest here. Was that piece of news who just done the damage? That's got to be it. That's coming out in the New York Times, though. Seriously, we're gonna start giving into headlines on papers, are we? I don't think so. I don't think so, guys. So this was the level. Still nothing. I missed it because it feels like a news move. All I'm seeing is a New York Times headline right now. I don't see anything else still. But this was the move I was looking for. It's kind of hard to see it, do it on news in case it's going to circulate something else. But if we start breaking down, I'll consider it. They're still absorbing the tape down here. Isn't that trap buyers up there? Yes, but we haven't broken down yet, and we did it on news. So, you know, I'm waiting for that to circulate around because we're a headline-driven market. You'll be very careful. Things can move very, very quickly. This is still pushing up and up and up. I need to see sort of pops, fail, backside, buyers continue to get stuck, and then we can start thinking about the move back down. We're going to have to watch this grey box now because we're running out of room. Still absorbing. They're absorbing this tape at 70s. I'm not liking what I'm seeing here right now. I need to see a move away from all of this to join at this point. Don't want to get caught the wrong side of this. They're still absorbing 70s at the moment. And buyers are way up higher. Sellers are way up higher. Interesting. I feel like I'm getting different prints. There's slight divergence here between NQ and Bookmap. How is that working when it's centralized? But there we go. Might have to reset NinjaTrader here by the looks of it. Right at the worst time. Do I want to leave workspace? Yes. Yeah, I just noted that there was instantly the prices weren't matching after that newsprint. Something's gone on there in data. So I'm just rebooting this up. Give me a second. Should I put more risk on today? I'm up 700s. Just take my win, Alex. That's you and your rules. I can't give you an answer to that, my friend. All right, ES pulling back between the two VWAPs now, so we might start to trap a bit here between the two. I'm liking this less and less from what I can see so far for sellers. But again, my NinjaTrader is rebooting up here, so give me a minute. This grey box is key. The value area low right here. Laggy NinjaTrader. Right, let's see if these prices are the same. 71, 72s. That looks better. They're aligned again. Don't know what happened there. That newsprint clocked out the data a little bit. Right, here comes the sell. Now, do they absorb this This grey box. This is what's key. If they let go of the grey box, you'll see follow through. Man, why did they have to do that on news? Fucking assholes at the moment. They can't just give us technical setups. It has to be so quick all the time. If we just did a grind up there, I would have been willing to take it. That happened in like a second, up and down. Is this importance of this grey box? It's still playing out here. Where did we hit? 715s? All right, so we rebalanced the H1. This is what I was talking about. This grey box above was the H1 rebalance. If you're wondering what I'm talking about. All right, we broke down on this H1. We're repricing wick to wick. How we act here becomes important between these two. Unfortunately, they've done it very quickly on news between the two, which makes it pretty hard to get involved in. What is the grey box? Again, please read what's exactly below what you've just put. Nightbot prints it every 10 minutes and reminds you what it is. ES stuck between the two VWAPs. We're stuck between the two grey boxes now. I'm becoming less and less interested in this market. We've got 25 minutes left to lunch. I don't like what we're seeing now in this market. Less and less and less and less and less. I think we're one headline away from it really, really changing the dynamics here again. Sellers are still up at 85s and 90s. There's still imbalances up at 95s right now. Still holding on to this grey box here. These are the two channels right now. Under here, maybe more downside. I wanted an entry up here. I wanted to see this so I could take a partial off here and hold a runner rather than enter here. But there we go. There we are where we are. The market's doing what it's doing. It's a pain in the butt at the moment with the headlines, or at least for me. Sellers got stuck at 50s, remember, this morning. So that 50s is a big level. We let go of 50s. I'll hurt my interest a little bit. It's the same level as earlier. 161 sell side delta there. The headlines are frustrating. They're so frustrating, man. We talked about like a low volume node being protected. We talked about the VWAP retest. We talked about this level, and it happens like that. I mean, I'm not going to trade that. I can't just leave a limit up there because you have to be careful of a V shape. The thing is, who knows what they're going to come out with at this point, right? Who knows? I'd love one more trade before lunch. Iran, deep historical mistrust in Iran towards the US government conduct remains. Okay, like, we're just circulating bullshit at this point. ES really good. Like, that rejection at ES was good. That IB, if we think about how clean this was as well on ES. So that IB high and the VWAP. This was nice. Think about your opening range, your initial balance low. Right, trade back in. Right, if they start to fail pops here, you can look for this. But the problem is you need to be short here, covering some versus this structure, because there's no guarantee of a new low. Because we've done 100% move, right? This is what makes it hard. Like, our expectations, we've hit all the low-hanging fruits, basically. This is a runner. We've hit all the low-hanging fruits. We've taken out most of the key levels. This is a runner down here if you had it, and it didn't go for you. Just nothing burger and opinion pieces. Yeah, I mean, I guess that is a that is kind of what news is, right? But it's just when we start bolting off like small little headlines. What was it last week? Was it Wall Street Journal or something small, and we ripped like 100 points in a second, and you're just like, seriously. It's not like it's a. I get it when it's a statement from the White House. I get it when it's a tweet from Trump, right? Or a, what does he use? Truth Social, whatever. New York Journal. I mean, yeah. Do you know what a New York Post? Do you know what I mean? Like at that point, it's just ridiculous at that point. Yeah, we're kind of in no man's land here. I'm just watching these sellers at 85s and 90s. They're still up there. There's lots of bid support just still sat here. There you go. There comes the bids. They're trying to get up to 85 and 90s. I just want to see what happens if and when we get up there. I'm not in a trade. I'm not in anything. Came to the levels of interest and did it all a little bit too quick for me. Kardashians are going to start their own news journal. What's it going to say? Give me the headline. Kardashians complain that they can't make their butts any bigger all the time the Strait of Hormuz is closed. Huge crash. Silicon can't get over here on from Iran. Oh, what a headline that is. I'm not reading that out. Right, lift into 85 and 90s. Here we go. This is where the sellers were. This is why I'm interested. They're still just sat here. So the fact that they're not moving down, it's kind of telling the story at the moment. All right, so you're seeing lower time frame bullish order flow come back in. Maybe I can draw it out for you. There we go. All right, there's your lower time frame bullish order flow. Remember, 715s is the H1 level. All right, this block here, it's a big level. All right, and this is why I was thinking we'd probably go between these two. So if you were short, the ideal short would have been like a walk up into here and a short here with a cover here and a runners below, rather than shorting this level. All right, this is now point of control, right, from the developing week. All right, this is why it's a pink line here. It's point of control from the developing week. We've held value area low from the developing week. All right, so at the moment, this is being deemed fair value for the developing week. So we have to be very sensitive at these levels. It's going downtrend. I mean, we've been downtrend and we swept. So like the low hanging fruit, remember the low hanging fruit was here. The overextension is here. This is what we protected overnight. We gap down, we grind back, we come up to trap buyers. We sold here this morning. We sold here this morning. You guys make your money, right? Maybe they build out more for this, but it doesn't have to happen today. This move, if they're going to do this move, could happen today, but we could trade down into here tomorrow. All right, and then that wouldn't surprise me to pin us. If you think about this, the ceasefire and the talks, this is fair value from the previous week, right? So if we come down here and tomorrow and then the news is positive, well, that's then a fair value price to bid back up of, and that could be a 2-leg higher time frame pullback to bid back up of, maybe, but we'll see. We're running out of time and moves for today. We've got 15 minutes left into lunch. Did we get there on the likes yet, folks? Not yet. We're still short on the likes. So you can see current week, point of control, at the moment is still being absorbed. If we go back to higher time frame, all right, this is our current week. Move this up a bit. Can you move up a bit so I can show them? All right, this is current week. All right, this is value area low from current week. This is value area high from previous week. This is point of control from current week. You can see we're just getting stuck here. But this was the reprice of the H1. Think about this. Failure. reprice, right? Why is H1 king? That's exactly why. You can see the levels clean, right? What happens now becomes important. We've already swept internals. If they want to protect this, they can. If they want to sell it, they need to build out here and see follow through down to this. This is a big level for this week that I will be watching. A lot of buyers just got their stops popped at 50s again there. So they were trying to bid 50s and just got run out a little bit. You can see it on Bookmap above me. Right here, right, these 50s. So we lifted, if we think about this, we lifted up to the 85s and 90s where these sellers were sat. All right, they were sat up there. That's why I said, like, I want to see if we lift up there. We did. We're seeing sell pressure off that. You want to see pop start to fail now if you're looking for downside rotation. You're starting to see it come in under 50s now. You are starting to see it coming in under 50s. This is the important level. It's this grey box now, if they're going to see follow through or not. It's a big, big, big level. Big sellers flying in here under 50s. It's a big level, these 50s now. Because they've tried to sell here a few times today. I'd say 3 or 4 times they've tried to sell in these 50s. You can see there's 158 lots sell side caught there. Well, not caught, we're under it. But that's the level, 51. And if they lift, 60 break will get them back, or 63 break will get us back inside value. So this is a sensitive area. You can see it right here. Big aggressive sellers, little pullbacks, sell down, coming back to this key level where the buyers last got stuck. They need to resell this, otherwise we squeeze right back into value for the day. Remember, this is point of control like we talked about for the developing week. 69 is point of control for the developing week. So back to POC for the developing week, and it's value area low for the current day as well. Very, very sensitive area here. It'll be a big battle between multi-time frame buyers and sellers. Why would these tops on the M1 not be enough to confirm a short down? What tops? This? I mean, are you fading that up there? I don't know. We're still in a key level here. It depends what you're looking for. You've got to think about what your expectation is at the moment. We're still holding on to a print here at the moment. What tops? Like this? Are you shorting that? I mean, if you're shorting that, fine. But you better be paying yourself here, because if you don't get this breakdown soon, we're coming straight back up. ES holding on to its view up. I just think we're losing edge in the market here. Like, I look at this and I just think these buyers are now comfortable. These sellers are comfortable, and we can just keep ranging between these. Like, we're not coming down to come and take out key levels. We've already done that. We've done the move. Like, the low hanging fruit has gone. You can't see the chart. Yeah, you're watching Bookmap. That is the chart. It's the same thing. Sorry, I had you on the wrong one, did I? This. Here. Right. Point of control. We just went over it. Developing week. Point of control. That's deemed fair value. This grey box is a very sensitive area, as is this. I would have preferred to have seen something like this to sell from there to there. And then if they break down, I can hold runners. If they reclaim, then I'm all out anyway. Didn't get it. Didn't get what I wanted because of the news piece. Am I in short or longs? Not in anything right now. What time frame do I focus on what time frame do you focus Bookmap on? You don't. Bookmap isn't done on a time frame. It's done on ticks. It's not done by time frame. Did I have this on the wrong one the whole day? No, that's right. All right, you can see this battle developing. Big battle here developing. Still, I don't think there's an edge in this for me. Coupon code for the course. Unfortunately not, my friends. I zoom in and out. Yeah, I zoom in and out. So like on Bookmap, when I zoom in and out, that's not to do with time frames. If I take you to that, right, it's just for me to see the levels. So if I do this, right, okay, I guess you could say these are 15-minute bars, but like the delta is represented by ticks. So I can do this to be like, okay, well, we had a good auction at the low, 130 lot, seller caught at the low. We had a good auction up here at the highs, right, in this drive, 100 lot and 105 lot. So big buyers currently stuck up here, and we're just stuck between this level here. Looks pretty key, sort of 30 to 25. So if we think about the pivot, right, this level here and this level here, right, and we're just bouncing between the two. Sellers caught under here, buyers caught up here. We're just bouncing between the two, and you can see both sides of the tape. Buyers are bidding, sellers are selling. Like, we're just going between these two levels. Bang, 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 ping pong, right, until they make a decision. How do I clear it? Okay, back to these 50s again. This big level of 50s again. ES is trying to do the same move, but it has internal wicks to run if they can do it. Again, if they keep protecting 50s, sellers, then they can try and look for a deeper move to retest down here. But if buyers keep getting back above 50s, then this pullback starts to hold, and sellers will get stuck down here under 50s. It's the same move over and over and over again. That's what we're seeing today. So sellers need to stay heavy versus 50s. Buyers will want to reclaim 50s and 65s. That's the move at the moment. That's what you're seeing. Sellers trying to pile in here to get down to 20s at the moment. There are some imbalances down here if they can get down to 20s and 25s. There's one here at 35s. If they get through this, they're going to go and test this edge at sort of 29s. So sellers now will want this box to reject. All right, they want this move here, and they will take a partial into this, and then they will look to see if there's acceptance lower. But think about this: we now have structure here that you respect. So if we got the sell up here, I'd be partial here, partial here, partial here, runner to here. But I'm not in it because I didn't see what I wanted. You could argue there's a sell here at 50s, but 10 minutes into lunch, I'm okay. I'm okay not taking that. What's the likes target? 1,000. Did we get it yet? 1,000 for Apex, and then 1,200 for something else. Probably a course. So testing 50s here. Again, I'm not taking this, not into lunch. These are the levels. ES as well, making it doubly hard again today. I should say, I think Funded Next might have just launched. Did they launch today? They did. Haven't talked about it yet, but they have an offer on for the next 4 days. So you can get a 100K challenge for the price of 50. Code FZT will get you that. So this is a retest of 50s again, this level here. This is key. And if buyers reclaim value, then they will look. Right, this is the sensitive level that sellers will try and defend. If buyers reclaim this, they're going to look for this move. So I'm uninterested here. I wanted up here, or a first look here. And then we reclaimed it. This is the level. And again, we're into lunch. I'm really not focused on taking a trade now. In fact, let's set something up. Where's my giveaways? All right, let's give away an Apex account. Just type FZT once in chat, That's your code to use on all your favorite prop firms: My Funded Futures, Apex, Tradeify, Lucid, Funded Next, FZT will get you the best code. All right, if you're using Take Profit Trader, use code FLOWZone, and that helps support the stream. It's how I'm able to be here and support you each day and trade. So I'll give you a minute to do that now. Thanks for joining, James. Appreciate that. Nice of you. All right, we ready to pull a winner here? Looks like it's slowing down a little bit. I'll give you 30 seconds more. Just type it once. If you spam, you get pulled out of it, folks. So no need to spam it. All right, let's pull this winner. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Kate M 788. Kate M 788. Are you here, Kate M? For your free Apex account. Nice. Congrats, Kate. All right, all I need is an email, info@flowzonetrader.com. Send me a screenshot of you logged into YouTube. All right, once you send me that screenshot so I can see that you are, in fact, KM, I will sort you out with a free Apex code. You're welcome. No worries at all. No worries at all. All right, well, market's basically doing what we expected. Nothing's changed here. Our expectation was to chop around today and probably build out liquidity from these to these to these. All right, and this is what we're doing. So for you in the afternoon session, you can think about the same things. We're currently rejecting Friday's value area high and point of control. We're also rejecting Friday's value area low. So we're trading underneath Friday, which means Friday's buyers are currently caught, all right, which is why we're looking for sells today. However, weekly buyers, all right, from here, previous week buyers are currently comfortable, all right? So the liquidity is being built out in this range at the moment, all right? So you want to be in sells all the time. We're rejecting for the move down. And I will be looking for buys this week, depending how we get there. On any sort of look below and fail, any tag into this, I'll be looking for buys back up once we come into here, probably later in the week. Ideally, tomorrow afternoon, Wednesday morning. That would be fantastic. Those who've done the course will know why. Do not get chopped up, all right, between these ranges, all right, between here, and then you can see we've moved value lower. All right, this can rotate and rotate and rotate and rotate. It's very, very probable. I will remind you why we think that. On a daily, right, we are an inside bar. Right, make it very easy for yourself. We are an inside bar on a daily. Okay, so we expect rotation. That's your rotation. It happens in here. All right, and we're filling in low volume nodes from the previous week. All right, we're rebalancing this node here from the previous week. So we expect chop in here. Right, do not be expecting some huge bullish move or huge bearish move unless we start printing outside bars, outside of key levels. Until that point, we can afford to build liquidity. Just remind yourself, like, this is the move. This is our first pullback day. All right, it's our first pullback day. right? We can't just keep going up and up and up. We need to build liquidity, even if it's to go upside or downside. We have to build out some liquidity. All right. So lower your expectations today. All right. We've made good money this morning. If you were short side with me this morning, right, your opportunities were the morning drive up here to sell and with a breakdown of these for this move. And if you didn't get stopped out with me here or you took the retest, that's probably move of the day. There you go. That's move of the day, folks. And yeah, look, it's Monday morning. We have no news scheduled for today. All right, everyone is really waiting to see what happens in terms of decisions with Iran over the next 24 to 48 hours. So just like slow down a little bit. You're early in the week. Let it develop. It's a bit like, think about Monday, Tuesday, the same way you think about the first 15 minutes, 30 minutes of the market, right? Monday, Tuesday, we start setting where the extremes are, where we think, okay, if we get above this, we can trend up. If we get below this, we can trend down. If we stay in this, we chop. Think about Monday, Tuesday, a bit like your initial balance or your opening range. Just let it develop. It gets easier as the week goes on, especially as we start to get more news come into the market. All right. And I will see you all here tomorrow morning. Don't forget, if you want to support the stream, all the links are down below. If you're interested in doing the course, I would say do everything for free on my YouTube first before you do anything else. I just released a new video on failed breakdowns, failed breakouts over the weekend. It's worth watching. And if you like those, you can always do the course, flowzonetrader.com. I will see you tomorrow morning, 9:15. Please make sure you're there for the pre-market stuff because it matters. It sets you up for what happens at the bell. And those in Discord, I'll pop in soon and use hard stops. Okay, you know this market loves a piece of news. If you're not using hard stops, you're going to get hurt. Peace out, team, and see you tomorrow morning.